from the taxpayers.
News Channel 5 investigates why FBI agents are asking questions in connection to a prominent Nashville judge.
Now with breaking news. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Tonight, News Channel 5 has learned the FBI is now asking questions about an embattled Davidson County judge.
Their focus, allegations of improper relationships and official actions involving longtime General Sessions Judge Casey Moreland.
News Channel 5 investigative reporter Ben Hall is here with the exclusive details.
Multiple sources tell News Channel 5 investigates that FBI agents have begun conducting interviews in recent days. As you're about to see, it all stems from allegations that emerged when Metro Police began investigating the death of a young woman. The investigation, which appears to focus on the role of Judge Casey Moreland, stems from the May 2016 death of Lee Terry, a 34-year-old woman who friends say struggled with depression and alcohol. Her body was found here, inside an apartment in the Stallman building. Police ruled her death a suicide.
I'm investigating the death of Lee Terry.
Terry's death came just days after a trip to the Alabama coast with Moreland and defense attorney Brian Lewis, a pair whose relationship and vacations have raised ethical questions in the past. Accompanying the two on this trip were Lee Terry and two other women who, according to court records, had all been defendants assigned to Moreland's court at some point in the past.
You can sit wherever you want. You can sit.
Yeah.
According to the police investigative file, Lewis admitted paying for Terry's apartment in the Stallman, as well as loaning her the gun she eventually used to kill herself. He later admitted the relationship with Terry was more than just an attorney-client relationship.
It would be classified a friend and a friend with benefits. Had I had sex with her on occasions? Yes.
Lewis said he first met Terry when he represented her on a 2013 DUI.
When I met her, she basically gave me like all her dirty laundry.
A former boyfriend, Roy Matlock, told police that Terry told him right after they met about a troubling encounter with Moreland.
She told me right then that she had sex with Casey Moreland in the chambers, okay? And that was what kept her out of jail. And she said, I feel nasty.
And police reports show another former boyfriend, Brian Pesterfield, also insisted Terry had told him she got out of a DUI by sleeping with Judge Moreland. In fact, court records show the 2013 DUI was originally assigned to Moreland. But the final order, reducing that case to reckless driving and sentencing her to 5 days in jail, was signed by another judge. Jail records show Terry never showed up to serve her sentence. Still, court documents show that Moreland later terminated Terry's probation, effectively ending the case.
I know you don't want to mention somebody, but I just need to know who we're talking about.
Casey Moreland.
Okay.
Also on the trip was Natalie Amos, who admits she was in a relationship with Judge Moreland. According to the police file, Terry had told Roy Matlock that when Natalie Amos told her she owed high court fees, she would call Judge Moreland and have them waived. Numerous witnesses say Terry began acting erratically during the trip, even threatening to expose Moreland and Lewis.
And she said, okay, I hope you're ready. She's like, I will ruin you. And she said, I know things that, she's like, you all both know what I'm talking about.
Pesterfield recounted how on the trip she yelled at Brian Lewis and Casey Moreland that she was going to tell the media about the trips and the mistresses, how she slept with Casey Moreland to get out of a DUI. Brian Lewis's reaction?
I took that as an idle type threat from her, something that was made in the heat of the moment, and that, that she wouldn't follow through with.
And Moreland told police he also felt Terry would calm down and come to her senses once she got home. A former boyfriend flew down to the Alabama coast and brought her back to Nashville. Just days later, the troubled young woman would take her own life. Again, multiple sources say FBI agents have begun conducting interviews in conjunction with these allegations. We don't know whether this is a preliminary investigation or a full-fledged public corruption case. Moreland's attorney, Warwick Robinson, says they will cooperate with any investigation, and he looks forward to telling Moreland's side.
Ben, thank you. Now, this is not the first ethics controversy involving Judge Moreland. In fact, the veteran judge has been on the radar of our News Channel 5 Investigates team for more than a decade. Our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, continues our team coverage. Phil.
Well, Vicki, people who know Judge Moreland best describe him as someone who's intensely loyal to his friends, but it has been his inability to separate his friendships from his duties that's repeatedly landed him in the middle of all sorts of ethical questions.
This guy's about to go to jail because of you.
As the judge who started the General Sessions Drug Court,
Take her into custody. No. This is a voluntary program. You don't want to do what we ask you to do, you go to jail.
Casey Moreland has earned high praise for his work with addicts, but more than once he's also found himself at the center of controversy, beginning in 2006 with a ticket-fixing scandal uncovered by News Channel 5 Investigates.
If a police officer comes to you and says, Judge, this ticket was given to a friend of mine, would you dismiss it?
Have I dismissed? Yes.
Among the tickets that Moreland dismissed was one for then House Speaker Jimmy Nafee. Moreland said he decided to dismiss all the tickets on the docket with Nafee that day because he just happened to be in a good mood.
Sounds like what you're saying, instead of the justice system, it's the lottery system.
That day, yes. Probably was.
You'll see my officer here. He'll answer your questions.
Then in 2009, Moreland received a private reprimand from the board that oversees Tennessee judges after our investigation caught him using court employees to work around his house.
And he was on city time. He did not take that day off.
Well, he should have.
But you're the one supervising whether he does or not.
I understand.
Ma'am, did you speak to your attorney about these charges? And
5 years later, Moreland was publicly reprimanded after he intervened in a domestic violence case at the request of his attorney friend Brian Lewis. In that case, he arranged to have Lewis's client, developer David Chase, released from jail despite a state law requiring a 12-hour hold. Still, Moreland refused to admit any wrongdoing.
I would never intentionally hurt anybody or do something that would hurt someone like that, especially a woman.
Now, the Nashville Scene reports that an anonymous ethics complaint has been filed against Judge Moreland and others over these latest allegations. Because that complaint was not sent to us and because those complaints are not public, we cannot independently confirm that information. Still, Judge Moreland insisted to the Scene that he has not done anything improper. Vicki?
Thanks, Phil. Judge Moreland is currently on leave citing medical reasons. The court administrator says he's not sure when Moreland will return, but he can come back at any time.